What's happening? What's good? Welcome back in Bear Down. And this is one of the funner ones to do because we're entering an era of Bears football where we have good problems to have. Drafting Ozzy Trapilo and everything that's come with that, very high praise on this young kid. But of course, we know we've got Braxton Jones, and this front office has talked very, very highly of Braxton Jones. In fact, they've still continued to give their support to him throughout this offseason.
Variety of schemes that we would like to employ. End of the day, we'll push this thing as far as we feel the collective group can handle up front, and that's where the intelligence is so important to expand on that variety. If we get really good at particular type of blocks, that's what we're going to feature. So we're not going to try to do something that doesn't make sense. But we have two extremely well-rounded individuals here. Feel really good about Darnell, Braxton, the rest of the group that's in that room right now. And
by all accounts, Braxton has earned the praise that this front office is giving him. Is he an all-pro? Is he a Pro Bowl player, caliber player? No, he's improved every year, and he's shown he has the mentality and the mindset to be able to be a good left tackle in this league. But there's a reason the Bears drafted third round last year, Karan Amagaji, and second round this year, Ozzy Trapilo. The fact is, Ozzy Trapilo, they weren't saying about Braxton Jones what they're saying about Ozzy Trapilo when he came into the league. But, and what they're saying is that Ozzy Trapilo was the most NFL-ready tackle of everybody. Now, they probably would have said that about Josh Simmons if Josh Simmons wasn't injured, but they're not. And then the Chiefs got a steal, an absolute steal at the end of the first round with the Bears. Pick up Ozzy Trapilo, who you see in the picture behind me, an absolute freaking mountain of a human being. I mean, just an absolute beast. So there's, him obviously at Boston College. Very intelligent, they say as well. Going to MIT. Oh, wait, other Boston school. My bad. But seriously, they do say he's very intelligent, and you see him just in different pictures of how big, next to Dan Rochar up there at top. He's a mountain of a freaking human being, 6'8", and it's not just like, oh, these other guys are 6'6", 6'7". He looks massive. He looks like a freaking monster. Sitting there in the same image as Joe Thuney, and you see it's not because he's in front of Joe Thuney and Joe Thuney looks small. This is Joe Thuney here. There's behind him Ozzy Trapilo. And he's big. He's a big human being. So here's the dilemma we run across, though. So these are posts from me from before. Yeah, one of them is on Christmas. I'm an obsessed MFer. What do you expect from me, guys? I'm even posting bullcrap on Christmas about the Bears. Jeez. Anyways, Braxton Jones, the last 3 weeks before he was injured, weeks 12 through 14, allowed 4 pressures on 148 pass block opportunities with a pass blocking grade of 88. So he's coming into his prime at the perfect time. And you see on the right side there, that shows him compared to everybody else. That was that total overall here. So his pass blocking grade actually showed 89.2 there. So obviously the information I had in the first place was a little bit off, or something's a little skewed there with PFF. But either way, he was one of the top pass blocking guards. And that's what Ben Johnson has said, is we want primarily pass blocking. The rest will come. Now, they picked up Drew Dahlman. That shows obviously they care about the run game. They picked up Joe Thuney, who's excellent in both. But this doesn't go unnoticed by the front office. They noticed the same things I was noticing then when this fan base, when people were crapping on Braxton Jones. And no, I'm not calling out each of you individually. I'm saying as a whole, there were a lot of people. This fan base goes a little crazy. Let's trade Cole Kmet now that we got Colston Loveland. Let's trade DJ Moore now that we got Luther Burden. Let's trade Braxton Jones now that we got Ozzy Trapilo. So we're in a good position as Bears fans. We finally have a really high prospect in Ozzy Trapilo that by all means at camp is showing up in the right way. Every press conference is very intelligent. The things he's saying, the way he responds, and then you get the film out at camp too. And even he himself said, the pads aren't on yet, so I've done nothing. Like he said those words. So Ozzy Trapilo knows these are just steps in the process. There's a huge advantage the Bears have in this entire thing. Yeah, Braxton Jones is on the last year of his contract, and that's the hardest part about this situation. Because if you break these numbers down, and I've shown this to you guys on this channel, I don't think anybody else is really talking about this yet still, and I don't understand why, but that's okay. We'll let them do what they want to do in the offseason. But as you look at this is this year, 2025, and you see these backloaded contracts where Jonah Jackson's $14.75 million this year, $25 million next year. Joe Tooney, $8 million this year, $21.5 million next year. And yes, we can shift some things around on these contracts next year. We can release Tremaine Edmonds. We can even right here, perfect example, Jonah Jackson, 25 next year, 17 the year after. We can restructure that and move some of that 25 to 17, because if you look at 2027, we're not nearly in the same cap space. Ryan Poles has done this with a specific reason to try to build this team for the now, for a playoff run, for a Super Bowl run, but allow a little bit of rookie development is probably the best way to say that. Develop some of these guys next year. Same thing, draft guys, develop them. Then in 2027, what do we need to hit hard? What do we need to do to be able to keep this dynasty, this playoff run, this thing's going? And then you're going to have to extend Caleb right after that. And so there's going to have to be some cap space available. He's not putting us in a position for cap hell. But at the same time, you've got this core here: Darnell Wright, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, Ozzy Trapilo. Those guys are clearly going to be on this team for years to come. Luke Newman, 6th-round pick. He's got to prove it, but there's a lot of upside to him too as a guard, center, backup combo. What are the options there? I don't think he's going anywhere. They're very high on him. Karan Amagaiji, they're still giving him first-team reps, second-team reps. He's moved more to second-team reps now, but they're high on him. They obviously drafted him for a reason out of Yale, another intelligent player. They're starting to go after these intelligent offensive linemen. And if you missed the press conference at the beginning of the offseason, when they picked up Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, and Drew Dahlman, that was the common theme they kept seeing about all three of these guys, is they're very intelligent. And then you draft Ozzy Trapilo, same thing. He's intelligent. Karan Amagaji last year from Yale, he's intelligent. So there's a common theme here. They want these smart guys, but also dogs that play hard. With that, it's not saying Braxton Jones isn't intelligent. Don't take my words and twist them, because they've actually said specifically in the press conferences, Braxton Jones is an intelligent player. He just had to develop, and we're coming to a position now where this salary cap next year, this is without drafting anybody. We're at $298,735. The salary cap's $307. Your rookies are going to cost roughly $12, $13, $14 million. Put those numbers to paper. We're already over the cap. Okay, so it's fine. We can do some things. We can restructure. We could possibly, do some things with Cole Kmet, Jalen Johnson, DJ Moore. Even right on there, you can see Jonah Jackson, that 25 and 17, push some of that back to the next year. There's options they have, but there's only so many players you can really go after in free agency or go after this next year. I don't see any path forward where Braxton Jones is on this team in 2026. I think that overall big picture of things is it's there. Like it's obvious. It's staring us in the face. As much as we like the kid, he's 14th best tackle last year. PFF has him ranked in the top 10 this year. I don't think the Bears have a path, but it's not the worst thing in the world, because it's not like, well, we're going to be decimated. We have nobody. Unlike years past, we got Karan Amagaji and Ozzy Trapilo learning in the back wings. So it does beg the big question: what's the best thing to do with Braxton Jones? What do we do with him? And from Bleacher Report, I just put on the left side here an article they put out of, maybe 10 potential players who could use a fresh start on a new team. I don't think it's that Braxton Jones needs a fresh start, because he's respected by this team. And this team does appreciate him, and they want him to succeed. They've already said, it's basically his job for the taking this year. Then you have the question of whether he'll be healthy in time. Will he be up to speed? All reports indicate, and we know he was in the boot right around the draft, so he was in the walking boot. His gruesome leg injury, which, horrible timing, again, because he was playing the best football of his entire career. 140 plus snaps and only 3-4 pressures allowed in that span of time. That's, if you can get that out of your players, you've got Pro Bowlers across the board. So in their, look at the very bottom there, in their synopsis here, and I think this is a pretty fair evaluation. If they traded him, the Bears could probably get a 4th and a 7th round pick. I think it's a fair evaluation for what teams go for. You look at was it Christian Darrisaw last year? Whoever was traded at the deadline. I apologize. I had that on the top of my head. I don't anymore. whoever's traded the Vikings, I think they got a conditional 5th or 6th round pick. So it's not just about what that player's worth to a team, because Braxton Jones is very valuable to this team. What can you garner for him in the trade market? And right now it's probably a 4th and a 7th. I think the reason the Bears would pull that trigger is if a team got uber desperate and Ozzy Trapilo is playing, is starting, and he's getting those reps and he's excelling. He's right off the bat, he's doing well. Because by all means, players don't just come into the league and excel on day one, even on the offense, especially on the offensive line. There's a learning curve. Even if we go look at Joe Thuney, there was a learning curve for him as well. So here's Joe Thuney's career. Now, albeit his learning curve was much sharper, steeper. He didn't go through many of the growing pains that other players do because he got it right off the bat. But you see that first year, even 45 total pressures, 4 sacks allowed. His second year, 5 sacks allowed, 36. And then you see this is for those who don't look at this stuff every day. This is PFF, and this is Joe Thuney's entire career by year right here. By team, obviously, he's with New England, then Kansas City. For those who didn't know that, he's got to work with Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes, and now Caleb Williams. Here's his blocking percentage, run blocking, pass blocking, offensive grade, run blocking, pass blocking grades. But you see that first year, it's not bad. In fact, we would be happy with players having these types of, cohesion and consistency throughout their careers. I mean, this is Pro Bowl, All Pro, Hall of Fame stuff right here. But you see those first 2 years, just a little bit, he had to get adapted to the league. Everyone does. So having Ozzy Trapilo sit a year behind Braxton Jones and learn from him, come in on, specific opportunities, or come in when there's an injury or whatever happens, is not the worst thing in the world. There's options here. I don't think the Bears are going to feel forced to trade Braxton Jones. If Braxton Jones has to sit, Braxton Jones has to sit. I don't know if the Bears will want to go that path, though, because it kind of diminishes his return value. So I broke it down here. There's really 4 things you can do with Braxton Jones. You're going to, 1, re-sign him for a massive contract at the end of this year, $20 million plus annual value. That's just what it's going to be for a player like Braxton Jones, who's been a top tackle in the league, who's improved every year, who's shown consistency and done a very good job. He's going to garner a market out there, and he's going to be very valuable to a team. A team is going to want to sign Braxton Jones. With that, there's going to be some comp pick value in the range of him now. So if we do play him and let him walk, his comp pick value will be higher. If we don't play him and he just sits and he walks, that comp pick value, because it's based on several things, your comp picks. It's how they did for you the prior year, how much they signed for another team, the value where they were on that team. So if he doesn't play for us, that goes against the equation there. So this is tiny. I realize this is probably one of the tiniest things I've ever put on there. For those who want to pause it, who are on a big screen, who want to look at it, it's not that important for me to read it or even break it down for you. This is just showing here 3rd round pick comps for this last year, and a lot of those are the Rooney Rule, so those are coaches on the bottom ones, but there's player like Xavier McKinney, Robert Hunt from the offensive line, who gave a 3rd round pick to the Dolphins. Kirk Cousins, quarterback, a very valuable position, so he gave a 3rd round pick to the Vikings. And then the far one over is 4th round pick compensation, which is probably more realistic to what Braxton Jones would garnish the Bear. But he could, if he plays at high caliber range, he could garner us a 3rd round comp pick. But either way, we don't have to trade him. So here's kind of the 4 things, and I put that one. So number 2 was play him, let the young players learn behind him, and let him walk at the end of the year, recouping a comp pick, which would be a 3rd or a 4th rounder. And if you're looking at trade value of a 4th and a 7th's not worth. It's not worth. The Bears were willing to trade a 7th to come up 1 spot. It's not worth much. The 7th doesn't mean anything. So having him play is probably way more valuable, and you could potentially get a 3rd round pick, which is very valuable. So that's, to me, one of the bigger options there. The other one, if by some reason Braxton Jones doesn't come back to start the season, I'm just putting a check mark by C for the reason for this. I think B is the most realistic thing. C, if Braxton doesn't come back in time for the season to start, if he's not up to conditioning, if he's not ready to start, Ozzy gets to start, you would expect there to be a little hiccup. And I don't think anybody would crucify Ozzy over that, because it's going to happen. You're coming to the league against, Myles Garrett's and these players who have been playing for years and fine-tuned their craft, and they're some of the best in the league. Ozzy's going to have a little bump in the road. That's why having him play behind Braxton, it has a little bit of value. But if Ozzy, let's say Ozzy does start game one and he absolutely kills it. He just has the great beginning to his career and they let him continue to start. There's going to be teams that are wanting to trade for Braxton Jones. That will happen. And the same thing that happened to Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson got injured in LA and his replacement played well. And they said, well, we can't stop the kid from playing well. The same thing with Ozzy. If he's playing well, you don't stop the kid from playing well. So you would want to then trade Braxton at the trade deadline if you can get value for him. I'd say if Ozzy's playing that well and Braxton is on the trade market and gets you a 4th round pick at that point, it's something worth considering. A third round pick, no brainer, because that's probably the highest you're going to recoup from, period, in comp range or anything. Trading him before the season start just makes absolutely no sense. 0 sense whatsoever. That's not going to happen. But that's what you can do with Braxton Jones. Other positions that need to be addressed on the offensive line. So you've got basically your core 5, and you've got Braxton, Ozzy competition. You've got Karan Amagaji, who's going to be around for a couple years. Then you've got this just constant blaring obvious thing there when you look at the salary cap, because Ryan Bates will save us $3.5 million. Here's his dead cap if we cut him, $500,000. Now I said before the season, or before the off season, before the draft, I said we should cut Ryan Bates. That should happen. Now the Bears are keeping him around. This is one of my bigger concerns. Are they keeping him around for his experience, for the contract? What are they keeping him around for? Because as I predict these 53-man rosters, I can't see a path where Ryan Poles should have kept Ryan Bates up to this point. The injuries last year, the inconsistencies, the lack of experience. Ryan Bates is not this experienced savant that some people think, well, he's the best. It's just not, he's not some phenomenal player that we can't do without. So here on the far left, this is Ryan Bates, and this is his total snap counts. And it's not like he's taken a million snaps. He had 1 year of starting in 2022. Other than that, he's been a perennial backup. Only 35 snaps in 2023, which is when the Bears traded him for. That's like a team trading for Bill Murray, except Bill Murray had an even more spectacular year last year than Ryan Bates had in 2023. You can see Bates took 35 snaps, 76 grade, 77 grade. Bill Murray, this is all the Bears players last year, only took 42 snaps, about the same as Ryan Bates' 23 season. 85 pass blocking grade, 77 run blocking grade. Now we know this is from one singular game. It's from the Panthers, and there's a couple other snaps from the next couple games too. But Bill Murray out there looked like an absolute dog. It's what a lot of Bears fans talk about. It's that one game, taking on 3 guys in one play for pass blocking raised his stock up. Converted defensive lineman. I think a lot of people know that by now. Converted defensive lineman when he was with the Patriots. Really got his first opportunity with the Bears, but I think what a lot of people don't realize is it didn't just happen in the season. It didn't just come out of necessity mid-season when we needed him, when Ryan Bates was gone with injury. You see right here next to me the injury history: concussion week 11, shoulder elbow injury week 2, and that's when he was gone for that game. And then I'm not even going to mention his name. The sleeper agent who we had to cut by the end of the year at guard, who we thought was going to be our starter last year, he's gone too. We had to put Bill Murray in there, and Bill Murray did very admirable that one game. Is he proven? No, but if you go look at the Kansas City game too from last preseason, it's preseason. I get it. He was working his way up to be this player that's proving himself. This is last preseason, and you can see he didn't allow a single sack, hit, hurry, or pressure all last preseason. Yes, it's only 67 pass blocking snaps. Yes, it's only 58 total run blocking snaps. His very first game against Houston, pretty bad in the run blocking game. But then he got better and better and better. You see here, preseason game 1, 2, 3, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City, better and better. And every game looked better until, obviously he started game 4, because you're game 3, game 4, if you count the, Hall of Fame game. A lot of the starters were sitting for that final game. That's just how it works. So he starts that game and he does phenomenally. Yes, it's preseason. Yes, it might not always be against the ones, but then he came in against the Panthers too, And he did the same thing. And I know that none of you are sick of this clip because I get it. It's one clip, guys. It's one thing. Here's Bill Murray. This is against the Panthers, and you watch him take out not one, not two, but 3 different players on the same play. So, boom, come back, boom. Hey, let me help you out too. Boom. He's a beast of a human being, and he's got that mentality, so you don't get rid of him. So you can see here in the background, this is from PFF, who they've got as our starters. I've added in our backups here, and I'm putting Ozzy there, putting Karan there, putting Luke Newman there, and really this comes down to who else are we going to keep on this roster? Who's that last guy? If it's Ryan Bates, I don't feel good about Ryan Pohl's decision. I feel like he's forcing that because he traded a 6th-round pick for the kid, whatever it was. That he forces this to stick around when that's not the best path for the future of this team. The reason I highlighted down here these different players is because when you look at the cap next year, we're not going to be big spenders in free agency. That's just not going to happen. We're not going to be out there spending. We're probably not going to sign a single big name free agent next year. If we free up some cap, it can be done. But you've got to sign, this is 38 players. You've got to sign 4 new safeties. You've got to take in the new draft class. You would have to restructure multiple contracts to be able to sign anybody. We're really rolling into 2026 with the same team we have now, with maybe a couple of these league minimum contracts from restricted free agents or exclusive right free agents. So if I'm looking at this and predicting the 53-man roster, I'm saying Ryan Bates is cut. He's gone. He's out the door. That $3.5 million, whether we spend it, we don't have to spend it this year. People say, oh, we cut Ryan Bates, we can go sign someone else. No, you look at the cap. Look at last year right here, this little key word. Adjusted salary cap with rollover, $6.128 million. You know you've built your cap next year to already be against the wall. If you go into this year with 8.837, you add $3.5 million to it, you've got $12.3 million right there. That's me mathing. $12.3 million, that can roll over. You don't have to use it all this year. And with the way you've backloaded contracts, that's one way to mitigate those backloaded contracts. Say, well, we could have paid, Jonah Jackson a little bit more this year. So instead of doing that, we'll save money that will offset it next year. Basic economics, basic financial planning. So just because we save money on a contract doesn't mean we have to go spend money on another contract. They can take that $12 million and roll that to next year and make it so we have a little bit more cap space to work with. Sign a safety. And I would expect that's what the Bears do. So if I'm looking at this here, I'm looking at this and then I'm taking these guys at camp and I'm saying, okay, who's that last backup guard or center? Likely not tackle. I'm guessing it's not Theo Benedict, but he could make the practice squad. And Theo Benedict, some have theorized, could move to guard as well. So who knows? But we're going to take the ones who play the best. And to me, Bill Murray has earned that opportunity to at least be on the 53-man roster. He's not going to start over Jonah Jackson. He's not going to start over Joe Thuney. That's probably not going to happen. But to have an opportunity on this team to continue to develop and be a key piece if somebody goes down, because that's what happened last year. It wasn't that he was a starter. Somebody went down, and he filled in with that dog mentality where he's taking out one guy, coming over and helping take out another guy, coming over and helping take over another guy. And that's what we need on this team. So I'm looking at these guys and I'm saying, who would I take for a variety of reasons, including that and including next year's salary cap? I'm going to look at these guys, Bill Murray, Ricky Stromberg, and Theo Benedict. And that's how I'm going to build this thing. You've got 3 solid players. It's not like you're having to cut, an all-pro guy, Doug Kramer, Joshua Miles, Chris Glazer, Jordan McPhee. You're not having to cut someone that's stellar to be able to fit somebody else on the roster. So where do my predictions stand? Here's what I did for the defensive line too. Now we're on the offensive line. I think my 53-man roster prediction, I think it's 9 guys. I think we're going with 9 guys, and I think Ryan Bates gets cut. And it's these top 9 guys right here. Braxton Jones, Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Ozzy Trapilo, Karan Amagaji, Darnell Wright, Bill Murray, Luke Newman, those top 9 guys right there. And then Ryan Bates is cut. Potential 10th old lineman for the reasons I just showed you. I would say Ricky Stromberg and Theo Benedict could potentially be the 10th, but I think we'll carry 9. And then I think these guys would hopefully be practice squad guys. And then potential practice, any one of these guys could be potential practice squad guys, I would say, except Ryan Bates. He's probably cut on his way out the door, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think, though. Put your thoughts in the comments. I really want to see on this one about multiple things. Who makes the top 53-man roster from the offensive line? What happens with Braxton Jones? if he's not healthy enough to make the start of the season and Ozzy Trapilo starts and does really well, he's not going to get his job back. That's just the way these things work out. He will not play again for the Bears. Now, I think he'll be healthy, and I think he'll start the season. I think Ozzy will learn behind him. I'm given all areas and scenarios, and I think the Bears really like Braxton Jones. I do. I don't think they have any plans to re-sign him for next year. So it's Ryan Poles' job now to be the GM of this team and see what he can do with Braxton Jones. I don't think it's smart to let him leave this year. We saw how injuries decimated this team. We saw what it did to this team. We saw how this team was destroyed by injuries. They that offensive line struggled because of injuries. It wasn't because the first five were terrible. They were average, maybe slightly above average. But when injuries hit, which was all season, the backups made it impossible. Larry Borum, I can't believe I'm even using his name again. This team struggled with the back. We now have a more solidified, but trading Braxton Jones would ruin that. Having Braxton Jones gives us that solid depth. Ozzy is the real deal. Ozzy is here. I'm excited for it. He's a mountain of a human being. He's smart, intelligent. He's fun to listen to. He's grasping it. I like it. It's another thing to have that and to have the experience. So I hope Braxton gets to start the season. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the entire offensive line. We will know in a month from now when they suit up. We'll see if Braxton's there for day one of it. It'll be interesting to see if he is there for day one. So with that, as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, please do that. If you haven't subscribed, I don't know why you haven't done that by now. You need to freaking subscribe to this channel. This channel is growing with or without you, but I'd appreciate if it grew with you. So I appreciate you guys being here, being a part of it. Until next time, the Bears and bear down.
Bear down, sports making Chicago.